Praise y'all, saints. Grafted word which is able to save our soul, huh? It's amazing, the entrance of words. They're there to give life. It's amazing, this is it's a book of a world that we're entering into, or getting us prepared to enter to another world while we're in this world. We're fighting a warfare in our minds. It always has its genesis with words. 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 Our fight is with words. We have something inserted in our mind by words, and then we should have something to counteract it with words. It's these words that form these worlds in our mind. Many of us live in some of these unique worlds because of the words that we have going on throughout the day in our minds, and we need to be aware of that. Be aware of that. Because this book is dictating to you entrance into a world. You heard the door, enter into the door. This thing is showing you a way to the door, an entrance. And like you heard Pastor say, there's so many persuasions, so many ways of words that have people climbing over walls and going through windows and such like. Just as, we call ourselves the Hebrews, the Israel of Yah. And outwardly we might have this adorning and everything just perfect on the outside, but there's no substance on the inside. Is that really worth it? Is it really profiting to have all this external glamour of a Hebrew, of an Israelite, and have no substance on the inside of a Hebrew Israelite? What have you done? It's been in vain. Talk to you tonight about truth in the inward parts. There's so many camps out there, so many persuasions out there that's trying to give you truth for the outward man. Trying to give you life for the outward man. But as you heard the words of Pastor, the inner man is the one that needs to be built up. The inner man is the one that needs to be listening. The inner man is the one that needs to be seeing. When we walk our days and our patterns of life with our natural ears and our natural eyes, which in certain instances they are good, but to enter into the life which is to come, there's an inner man that must be taken account of. He's the one that must be built up. This outward thing, it's perishing. The Word has already declared it. There's nothing that's going to go beyond them boundaries. No going beyond what the Most High Yah has said. And in this time, in this hour, if we're going to receive truth, the truth that we should be receiving in this hour is for our inward man. There's a lot of damn truth out there for this outward man. I mean, gobs and gobs of it. Some of it is of good profit. But for us to enter into the world to come, we need truth in the what? Inward parts. Consider the seed. Seed is always, we as an agricultural people know that seed is a genesis. It's the beginning of something before it actually it grows up. A seed is in of itself. It's by itself. It abides alone. And you heard the word say that it abides alone unless there is some earth to put it in. And then it dies of itself. And then it starts springing up. And then the end result is that seed, at the end result, the revelation of it is to give fruit. Especially with this word of Yah. It is there for an expected end. For the Most High Yah, Yeshua HaMashiach, He waited for the precious fruit. He's waiting for fruit. He's waiting for something. He is planted. and He's waiting for a harvest, and He's patiently waiting for it. So we, the people of Yah, an agricultural people of the Hebrews, should understand the mechanics of a seed. It's a very small thing, just as a mustard seed. Yeah, once it's planted, it's one of the biggest plants of all. Praise Yah. The seed I'm talking about is this word of Yah. Seed, we hear it, we hear it, we hear it. Our natural man hears it, and our spiritual man should be hearing it more than our natural man. Because, anything, the laws, the precepts, and the commandments really don't have much for the natural man. It's there to really construct and build up the inner man so that this outward man can be a servant. It's got to be a servant on the inside first before the outward becomes a servant. Seed is the word of Yah. Again, let me reiterate, truth in the inward parts. Matthew 13, let us go there. Matthew 13:10, and it says, "And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables?" When he's speaking parables, what is he speaking? Words. 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 When these spirits, whatever they may be, when we hear thoughts in our mind, what are they constructed of? Words. 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 When you receive truth, truth has a construct of what? Words. Why speakest thou unto them? See, it says, and the disciples came, notice that, and said unto Yeshua, Why speakest thou unto them in what parables? And see, he answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you, the disciples, to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. But unto them it is not given. Why? Why speak, a parable, which is, to them, they're hearing it, but they're not getting it. But unto us, that are the chosen, the elect, we should be the ones being able to hear what He's saying. The words that are being spoken. Because it is given, it is given, it is given unto us. To know what? The mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but unto them it is not given. It says, For whosoever hath, notice that, the disciple, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. That's a sharp saying. Very sharp saying. Therefore, speak I to them in parables. Because they think they see. They can think, I'm perceiving everything with my natural eyes, my natural understanding, my natural perspectives. But he said, but they see not. They hear, we're hearing words, we're hearing sounds now. But he said when he speaks to them in parables, they don't hear it. But we, the people of Yah, should be hearing it. And we should be seeing it. With what? The outward man or the inward? Where His truth has got to be within us? Inward. 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 Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither, notice this, and seeing they see not, hearing they hear not, and because this neither do they understand. So seeing and hearing should bring us to a level of understanding. But these people say they see, and these people say they hear. But Yeshua is saying, they don't see, they don't hear. But He's saying to us that has been given us the mysteries of the kingdom, we should be seeing and we should be hearing. But not as a level as they are receiving the word. Neither do they understand. And it says, and in them, notice that word in, such a little significant word, within them, within them. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saying, by hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand. And seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive. Just as the scribes and the Pharisees, they presented themselves as seers and hearers. But there was nothing on the inside, huh? Nothing. 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 No substance. Whited sepulchres. And we had this very, very thing. The Most High Yah allowed us to enter into grace to see this about a week ago. One saying, I'm a Yah here. And another man saying, I'm a Yah here. Well, we've seen one with no substance, had word, but his word had no substance. Then we see the man who had the word, had the experience, and had substance. But did we hear that and did we perceive that by what he was speaking? We heard Roberts. We heard Roberts, and all that he said, there was no place given for understanding. No place given for knowledge. No place given for wisdom. But when you seen Pastor, when it was his time, he was broadcasting understanding, wisdom, knowledge. I mean, these things that were going out beyond the words, but we were hearing them, and we were seeing them, and we should have been hearing them, and we should have been seeing them. We had to show openly, because this debate, you really look at it, it went beyond the realm of polygyny. Because we see one man, no. One man, yes. One man not knowing the image of Yah, and another man trying to teach the image. And some will say, well, you're just trying to prop Pastor Dow. No. I see a man speaking by the Spirit. And I saw a man speaking by a Spirit. As the Word says, you can receive the gospel by another spirit. You can hear the gospel be preached unto you that has not been preached by the one sent by Yah. And you might bear well with them, but how do we bared with that mess, didn't we? God. When that was over, people going, oh, can't hear this man. But this man I can readily hear. Well, that's because, you're under Pastor Dow's teaching and under his ministry. No, it goes beyond that. Quit skating on the water. I mean, when many of us were baptized in water and baptized in the Spirit, we were pretty much submerged, huh? And this thing is going on daily. Especially what went on before our eyes that the Most High Yah allow us to see. Being baptized, being immersed in that situation. It should have taught us more. Went beyond the realm of polygyny. Even though that was the main topic of the debate. But more was being expressed there than meets the eye, meets the hearing. And the people of Yah who can see and can hear, that's the reason why. Reason why the comments and the air was the way it was. It's an amazing thing. We've been reared up in a society that's so flat, so one-dimensional. We serve a Most High Yah that's omnipresent and omniscient. I mean, He's all-knowing. He's everywhere at all times. And He allows us to enter into that nature. If, perchance we would just allow the truth to enter into the inward parts, which He is trying to propel, which He is trying with His seed to plant in us? Because a parable in any time should not be some strange thing unto us that the Most High Yah speaks. We deal with parables every day of our life. Because now here we are, a purchased possession of the Most High Yah. And we're in the place where He has us at His pleasure, at His purpose. And we really need to understand that in that dispensation of the Most High Yah's will. This thing goes way beyond us. Way beyond us. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand. And seeing ye shall not see, and shall not perceive. It says, why? Why? For this people's heart is waxed gross. Gross? Gross. To make thick. To make fat. To fatten. And it has metaphorically to make stupid. To render the soul dull. Or callous. What? So the mind, the will, the emotions. And we saw a man act as a dullard, with no respect, no honor for any of the saints of the Most High Yah. Continue on reading. People's heart is waxed gross, and their ears of dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with what? Their heart. That's where the seed of understanding is, the heart. And the heart is part of that inward part that we need to be aware of. We should be on this side of the impalement, as we see ourselves daily. Lest perchance we looked in the mirror and forgot what manner, some sort of man we are. Man, we go out through the day with all these words going through our mind. All these situations before us. And it's not nothing to be taken lightly as a child of Yah. Well, Yeshua said, But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see. I'm like, whoa. The ones that went on by our brothers and sisters, they desire to hear and see and perceive and understand the things which we do. It's a great thing. Which you see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear and have not heard them. And then it continues on. There should be no break there in thought. Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of what? The kingdom. Heareth the word of the kingdom. Because he's speaking unto them parables of the kingdom of heaven. When anyone heareth the word, and understandeth it not. If you hear this word and you understandeth it not, then there gives place to someone. Because the word says, with all you getting, I implore you, get understanding for this very thing. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. That is he which received seed by the wayside. Because you remember it says, he that hath not shall more be taken from him. But he that hath understanding, wisdom, and knowledge, he's seeing, he's hearing, shall more be given. It's a beautiful thing. This truth in the inward parts. Then notice that he receives seed by the what? Notice that word. He receives seed by the... It's coming from the direction that it shouldn't have come from. Many people are receiving word by the wayside. And we've got to be careful when we hear things from the wayside. Especially, when things get spit in our ears. Receiving these words by the wayside. When we got wicked ways in us, ways of bitterness, ways of hatred, ways of this, and then because we're in a bitter state, when we're in an envious state, and everything that is here from the wayside is perceived from that wayside. The word implores us, take heed how ye hear. He that receiveth seed into stony places. Notice that, into stony places. The same is he that heareth the word, and then, oh yeah, hallelujah, praise Yah. With joy he receives it. But yet he hath no root in himself. You mean that word entered, no understanding. He was glad he received the word, but there was no word really received. It was not received in the heart. This was a place of the stony. Stony. All these people are hearing the word. This one, he hears it, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet he hath not root in himself. But he endureth for a while. But for when tribulation or persecution ariseth because of the word. I'm like, whoa. I mean, some of us can't receive rebuke, reproof, correction. Is it because you have received much of the word into stony places? Because you cannot hear and see the love of Yah being extended towards you by the rebuke and the reproof and the correction? But they receive the word and hallelujah, hallelujah. But when the word comes to try, when the word comes to prove, yet he hath no root in him. He don't know himself. That having root in yourself, a lot of people just don't know this self. He endureth for a while, for when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, it says, by and by he is offended. Stony, 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 receiving word in the stone, and then by and by he is offended because of the word that bringeth tribulation or persecution, which it should. When we should not consider it a strange thing, the fiery trial which is to try us at any time. He also that receiveth seed among the thorns. Notice all these things happen. There's no earth there. There's no earth there. There's no depth. There's nothing being planted in. Among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh what? Unfruitful. But it says, but he that receiveth seed into the what? Good ground. Now we got seed being put into the ground. You know, a seed can remain in the packet for 10, 15 years. Is it doing you any good? Is it producing any fruit? How many of us are still in seed stage? But he that receiveth seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. Yeah, we can hear a lot of truth, and we get a lot of truth in our mind and our heart, but if not, this truth becomes meshed with our life, and truth starts manifesting itself through us. When truth has life, when truth has breath in us, then truth is really, really become, ingrained and rooted in the inward parts. I thank the Most High Yah for His Word. I know many years Pastor said, and kept reverberating, get the Word in your heart, get the Word in your heart, get the Word in your heart, get the Word in your heart. Because I know if it hadn't, been for the power of the Most High Yah, and by that obedience of getting the Word in my heart, the things which I have suffered unto now, I would not be standing before you. I would have been offended. I would have been hated. And I would have been a backbiter. And I would have been this and I would have been that. If the Word had no root in me, it would not help me to stay on solid ground. And I thank the Most High Yah for His Word because I perceive it as life. It is life. And that's the mindset that we got to get in the inward part. From the inner of our being, understanding it is life. Yeshua said He is the truth that leads you into the way that opens to the door to life. It's consecutive, one after the other. Praise Yah. Psalm 51:6 says, Thou, behold, Thou desirest truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden part Thou shalt make me to know wisdom. Who's doing all this? Who's doing all this? Yeshua HaMashiach. He's going to do in the hidden part. Going to make us to know wisdom. Why? You got to desire truth in the what? Inward parts. It's got to go beyond this man of the flesh, this man of the temporal. Job says, Who hath put wisdom in the inward parts? Who? Who? Or who hath given understanding to the heart? Who? 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 It's a question. Who? Jeremiah 31:33, one of my favorite verses. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of who? Israel, after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my laws where? Oh, yeah. Well, we can have the law up in the head, boy. We can have the law in our clothing, in our speech, but really have no law in us at all. But this is the covenant that He's making with His people. The seal of His covenant, the substance of His covenant, that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahweh, I will put my law, what? Law. 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 In their inward parts, and write it in their hearts. What? What's going to be written in the hearts? This is supposed to be in the inward man. That's why in this time, in this hour, if you are a believer, or you have the confession of being a Hebrew Israelite, are you filled with His Spirit? Are you? There are many spirits out there that put on a show that they seem to be the Holy Spirit, but they are not. Got a lot of Hebrew camps out there that the Holy Spirit is in none of them. And we saw a man mock, deride, downcast, every work of the Spirit. And you heard the man of Yah get up and he said, I've not done this of my own accord. But the greater one that is in me. And all of us that has ears to hear, eyes to see, we know what he's talking about even without saying it. We have witness, because within ourselves, that truth that is within, or should be in our inward part. I'm going to put it in their inward parts and write it in their hearts. And when this law is in their inward parts and it is in their hearts, and I will be their Elohim, mighty, and they shall be my people. Why? Because of this law written in the inward parts. Many have a lot of external truth, and some of it is good. Some of it is pertinent for, this life, this time, this hour. But the truth that the saints of Yah, again, I want to hit on, that we should be receiving is the truth in the inward parts. But a lot of this external truth, a lot of it you see as the years go on, fades away. Falls like through sand in the hands. It has no endurance substance. It's a litmus test. When anything is coming from this word, it should have substance. It should be received as substance. It should give us some form of life, some form of quickening. And the only way it can give some form of quickening is if it's received in the inward man. Flesh is not going to be quickened by anything of this. But a lot of camps out there and a lot of people out there are trying to make a show of this from the outward man. And they're perishing. They're perishing. They're perishing. And how is that profiting? We are a people going into another kingdom. We'll be a people getting prepared for another kingdom. The truth that should be adhering to more and more as we walk to help us walk, talk, taste and touch and smell is the truth that pertains to the inward parts, the thing that's going to strengthen our inward man. That would be profiting. Romans 7:22, for I delight in the law of Yah, how? After the inward man. So my delight, after my inward man has received the law, then I delight in the law after. So for something to be after, something has to be before. Right? Something has to be leading. Something has to be guiding. For if I walk in the flesh, or if I walk in the Spirit, I walk after the flesh, we've heard it. If I walk after the Spirit. But the delight in the law of Yah is after the inward man. You got to hear that. Hear that. That inward man brings a delight. That inward man, when he receives the law written, has a delight to do. Like Yeshua said, he had this testimony. I delight to do thy will, O Yah. It is written, a body hast thou prepared me. A body. We are now the body of Christ. If we really look at it, what he's saying, if we can hear and see. But he's trying to build us up after the inward man. This thing is perishing. What you see. It's only temporary. Here for a short time. Getting ready to check out. Because the Most High Yah has put boundaries on this. But He has not put boundaries on our spirit. He is boundless. All things will perish and vanish away. But what's going to remain? The Word. The Word. And if that Word is in you, guess who's going to also remain? Because there's going to have to be a remaining when He comes back to meet them in the air. He said that He would grant you according to the riches of His glory. It's all His. It's all Him. It's all Him or nothing. It's all because of Him. It's a testimony, and I can say from the truth that is in my inward parts, and I delight to say this, that without Him I can do nothing. And that should be our testimony each and every day in everything that we do, everything that we propel ourselves to do. Without you, Most High, I can do nothing. But He's granting it. He's going to grant you according to the riches of His glory. How? The riches, true riches of His glory, to be strengthened with might. How? By His Spirit. Where? In the inward man. That's where the strength comes from. That's where Yeshua's strength comes from. You seen one man here in the strength of Yah, and you seen one man over here in the strength of man. What a contrast, huh? What a great teaching that the Most High Yah allow us to see and hear, if we, perchance we was able to see it and hear it. Galatians. Galatians 3. 1 through 5. It says, "O foolish Galatians, who hath bewitched you?" Notice that. Calling them foolish. Why? Because they have been bewitched by something. "Who hath bewitched you that ye should not obey the truth?" They must have heard something or received something to be foolish, to get them to a foolish state to not hear or perform the word of Yah. "That you should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Jesus Christ hath been evidently set forth, crucified among you." Talking about a death? Talking about a death? And it says, Paul saying, "This only would I learn of you. This only would I learn of you. Receive ye the Spirit by the works of the law? Or receive ye the Spirit by the hearing of faith?" Interesting, huh? Works, hearing, works. Many out there are trying to work this law of Yah from the outward man. And Most High Yah looks down at it and can't see nothing in that. But this law is in the inward parts, in the hearts and the minds. Then there shall be a delight of the inner man to perform them. "Are ye so foolish? Having begun in the Spirit," and a lot of us have begun in the Spirit, "are ye now made perfect by the flesh?" How many of us can say that as and many of us been in our length of journey, that our flesh has perfected us? Can anybody give us that testimony? Can anybody raise their hand? "Yeah, I've lived a life in the flesh and I'm being more perfected day by day." But there's many outshowings out there of the flesh. Many people say, "Oh, you know the law. So you got a table of stone here and a table of stone there, and I've got this great edifice, and I got this great looks." Why did sepulchres? Well, Yeshua called them. It says, "Have ye suffered so many things in vain?" How of us have suffered in this walk and the trials and tribulations? Have any of us considered it a vain thing? How many of us delight in tribulations and persecutions? When rebuke cometh and correction cometh, do many of us cast ourselves down, throw ourselves on the ground, or do we get up and say, "Thank you, Most High Yah, for instructing me. I see that you love me. I see that your eyes are upon me. I understand now that you see a wicked way in me, and that wicked way you desire to see depart from me." That's receiving truth in the inward parts. And if we would receive that truth in the inward parts, that inward man is there strengthened by the Spirit to help you overcome, to help you be delivered. But there's a lot of truth out there that you put it in your bag, you stuff your bag, and you got like a whole bunch of bags all around you with all this truth, and you're walking around all heavy burdened with all this truth. Tribulation, persecution, and all this stuff coming. You reach down in your bag, oh, I can't use that, and I can't use that, and can't use that, and can't. No. I got nothing. I've got nothing. I've got nothing. But at one time I had this great walk and appearance of all this truth surrounding me. And I broadcasted everything that I had in my bags. And when the trial came, the persecution cometh, the tribulation ariseth, I had nothing in my bags to get me through. He, therefore, that ministereth to you the Spirit. Listen to that. He that ministereth to you the Spirit, and worketh miracles among you. Now he that ministereth to you in the Spirit, and doeth miracles by the Spirit, does he do it by the works of the law? We see a man that's trying to do works of the law, but he cannot heal. He cannot cast out a devil. He cannot raise the dead. He can't say, there's no material healings. And then when there was a show of hands, I've been healed, I've been delivered. Oh, lies, lies, lies. See, there's a contrast there. He, therefore, that ministered to you the Spirit and worketh miracles among you, doeth he by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith? You had to hear, the hearing of faith word had to happen first in the inward man. It had to be planted in the inward man. And something had to grow up from that being planted. And then he had to having root in himself, be able to take, that harvest which was birthed in him, which was cultivated in him, and then broadcast it to you. Hebrews 7:19, for the law made nothing perfect. But the Most High Yah is getting us to a place of perfection. We are in the ministry of reconciliation. But it says, the law made nothing, I know, we're going to look at that word made, nothing perfect, but the bringing in of a better hope did, by the which we draw nigh to God. Yah, the hope is made. What's this made? It completed nothing. It was the introduction. It was the seed. But not the completion. See, we're in harvest time. We from Genesis to Malachi, we see all the planting going on. And now, since the true seed had been put up on a tree and put into the earth and went down into the lower parts of the earth, and then he rose again, leading captive up on high. We see the completion, and we're in the time of the completion. We're in the time of the perfection. We're in the time of the harvest. Why do you think, we go through these convocations and these feast days? Because we doing them, we see something and we hear something from the Spirit of Yah every year that we do them. We yield more and more and more fruit because we partake of Him. We're moving into the realm of the complete man. First man, Adam, was of the earth. The second man, Adam, was a quickening spirit. The same likewise, the first Eve. Now here we are. the bride, the second Eve. Are we going to partake of the quickening spirit of the completion when us being many are made one? Galatians 3:24. Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster. This thing written in our hearts and our minds. What to do what? To bring us unto Christ. Because at any time, he that hath the word in him, he does not sin. Because the seed remaineth in him. He cannot sin because of the word, what? Word remaining in him. So this word, this law, these precepts, these commandments, these statutes, the words of the Yeshua HaMashiach, the Most High Yah. This law was our schoolmaster because it is written that death reigned from Adam to Moses until the law came. Something about the law that we don't understand and we should understand. That brought forth the knowledge of sin. But just listen to that. Death reigned from Adam to Moses. And the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. And that's the very thing that we fight day and day and day out, is all the realms of death. Because the wages of sin is death. And I'm talking about the capital D, death. And that is our warfare. We are desiring after the inward man to enter into life. And then the only life substance that we have, the only life water we have, is coming from this Word. Truth in the inward parts. So this law was our schoolmaster to always bring us unto Christ. Because if it's in our hearts and our minds, it's there at any time. If perchance we have sinned, we immediately have an advocate with the Father. Whereas they out there do not have an advocate with the Father. Because the law is not in their hearts or in their minds. To bring us unto Christ that we might be justified by faith. Not by works. Works ain't going to do nothing. We can show up, like Pastor said, at every service and look good here and look good there and have all the works. But if there's nothing on the inside, and it's time to report home, and there's no garment, no righteousness, no clothed in righteousness. You heard Yeshua's going to look at it like, who are you? Romans 8, 3 through 7. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, Yah sending His own Son in the likeness of sinful flesh and for sin. What did He do? In this manner, in this work, He condemned sin in the flesh. Why? That the righteousness of the law. This is the reason that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us. Who walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh. Mind. But they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. For to be carnally minded is what? Death. Death reigned from Adam to Moses. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. So to be carnally minded is what? We need to hone in on death as one of our greatest enemies. But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because the carnal mind is enmity against Yah. For it is not subject to the law of Yah, neither indeed can be. Therefore by the deeds of the law there shall no flesh be justified in His sight. For by the law is the knowledge of sin. Galatians 2. I think we'll end on that. Says, for if any of us, build again the things which we have destroyed. And many of us are in this walk, and we've let a lot of destruction behind us. And don't need to like the dogs and go back to the vomit. They're not like the sow going to her wallowing in the mire. For if I build again the things which I destroyed, I make myself a transgressor. Ooh. For I, through the law, am dead to the law, that I might live unto Yah. What is he saying? But I, through the law, am dead to the law. Because if I'm walking in righteousness and peace and obedience, that law, there is no law, therefore a righteous man. For I through the law am dead to the law, that I might live unto Yah. It says, I am crucified with Christ. Nevertheless I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. And the life which I now live in this flesh, what I live in the flesh, says, I live by the faith of the Son of Yah, who loved me and gave himself for me. I do not frustrate the grace of Yah. If righteousness come by the law, if righteousness has come by the works of the law, then this Christ is dead in vain. Praise Yah, saints. Desiring truth in the inward man. That is a heart's desire for myself and for every one of you. Praise Yah. I pray every one of us, if we're desiring to learn and to gather ourselves unto truth, weigh it. Weigh it. Try every spirit to see whether it's of Yah. I mean, just look at the substance of the things which you are receiving. That if it's going to profit your flesh, or is it going to profit the spirit man? Praise Yah. Oh, bless Heavenly Father, in the wonderful name of Yeshua, thank you again for your word. Thank you for allowing us entrance, for giving us insight, giving us sight, giving us hearing. Just thank you, Most High, for your word. Do humbly thank you in all things, Most High, in the wonderful name of Yeshua. Hallelujah. Amen. Shalom, shalom.
Uh-oh, look at him looking.